What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. We are looking at the NBA slate for this afternoon. It's starting at 1 p.m. Hopefully, you guys all had a good day yesterday for NBA. It was awesome. Put up a 345 on Draftkings using the core that I posted. Nurkic was awesome at under 10% ownership. The Doncic Harden stack worked out great. And then the other plays just came through. They got enough out of the value plays, and it was nice to see yesterday. So let's keep it going today. You can hit the like button down below and subscribe if you have not already. You guys, we cleared 3,000 views yesterday, which is awesome. Let's see if we can clear 200 likes on the video. You can follow on Twitter. It's at the DFS process for updates. And if you want to join, you can visit the website. Links in the description if you want some more help than these videos. So today's one less game. These games are also I think there'll be a lot lower scoring of a slate than yesterday's. We had some like very high and very fast paced matchups. Don't really have that today except for the Clippers game, although Clippers defensively are very good. Philly defensively is very good. The Pacers play slow. Denver plays slow. Toronto plays pretty slow, but Lakers really good defensively. So I could see it being a pretty lower scoring slate. And I still like that doesn't mean I don't like the slate as much. I still think that you just gotta find your players that you think that can play well in these types of games. So starting off here at point guard, LeBron should play. I think it's probable. Ben Simmons, 8,600. It'll be interesting to see how the Sixers lineup shakes out now that Ben Simmons is starting at the 4 and Shake Milton is starting at point guard. Ben Simmons is still gonna have the ball in his hands quite a bit. He still should be bringing it up, and I still don't think it's gonna have too much of an impact on him. He should still get some time at the point guard position, and even though he's playing the 4, he should still handle the ball quite a bit because he is the best passer. I like Donovan Mitchell a decent amount. The Jazz are super underpriced on DraftKings, so there's one guy that we're going to touch on. 69 for Mitchell is great. You got to consider if you think Mitchell is going to point per dollar wise be better than guys like Conley or Clarkson, who is $3,000 cheaper than Mitchell for some reason. After he had a very good game and played 32 minutes the last or 2 days ago. Van Fleet at 6,200 looks very good from a value play. I think I prefer him over 8,000 for Kyle Lowry. Mike Conley, 54, that looks pretty decent. He was good at shooting the ball in the first game. Didn't really get you peripherals, only had 4 assists, 1 rebound, and only 1 steal and block. So 20 points. If he usually scores 20 points, you could kind of expect like mid 30s to low 40s in fantasy points. Didn't really happen. He is sharing the court with Mitchell at times and with Clarkson, so there are some ball dominant guards that he's also playing with. But 54 for him, I think, looks pretty good. And then the team that I want to talk about is the Nuggets. They're dealing with some injuries. Murray is questionable. They're already ruled out Gary Harris and Will Barton, which is going to mean a lot of minutes for guys like Jeremy Grant and Michael Porter Jr. should see a very good run off the bench, and he's been priced on DraftKings for whatever reason. That's going to bump up the usage rate a lot for Nikola Jokic. Hopefully Murray plays. If not, then things are going to get pretty crazy in Denver. But right now, assuming Murray is in, if you want the final updates, you can follow on Twitter. I'll post them there. But assuming Murray's in, I think at point guard, I'm looking at like Conley, 54. It's a decent matchup against the Thunder. Both kind of play with like 3 guard lineups at times. So I could definitely see times this game where Conley, Mitchell, and Clarkson are all out there against like Shea Gilgeous and Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder lineup. So I like Conley at 54. You should still see very good minutes, and I think he can probably chip in some more peripherals today than the first game. At shooting guard, I love Jimmy Butler, 7,600. I like the Denver Nuggets. I think you can run it back with the Heat, and the 2 players to run it back on the Heat are usually Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, and both are decently priced, especially 76 for Jimmy Butler. That's really nice. You mentioned Van Fleet. I like him. And then for value, you have 4,400 for Josh Richardson. That looks very appealing. You should see solid run. They have a lot of players. The Sixers do a lot of like backup players. They have Burks. They have Glenn Robinson. Now that the point guard is Shaking Milton, they have him. They have Al Horford coming off the bench. They have a lot of guys at Furkan Korkmaz. But I think Richardson 44 can be worth a look at least. But it's tough to get excited about. I mean, tough to get too excited about 4,400 for Richardson when you have Clarkson at 3,900. That is just a terrible price on Clarkson. He played 32 minutes at the most minutes he's ever gotten in a Jazz uniform without Bogdanovich in the first game and looked great. He shot off the terrible shooting the ball from 3-point range. If he has a better shooting day from that, you probably would have crushed even more, put up 40 plus fantasy points. He's gonna shoot. That's one thing you can count on. Some guys off the bench are pretty timid; they don't take shots. But Clarkson, when he's out there, he's gonna shoot. You can basically pencil him in for 10 plus shots a game, and he can get you some like couple peripherals. We all know Clarkson doesn't like to pass a lot; he likes to shoot. But a couple peripherals maybe, and 39 is just too cheap. At small forward, Kawhi Leonard is 8,900. That looks good with just a $1,000 price difference between him and Paul George. I kind of lean to Kawhi Leonard. The first game he was like $2,000 more expensive than Paul George, so it was a little bit tougher to get to Kawhi. But today I definitely prefer Kawhi Leonard. I love Jimmy Butler. We'll see if Oladipo is going to play or not. I don't know. He said he's going to wait till today to make his decision right before the game. And for some value at this position, there is quite a bit of value. You have Josh Richardson, 4,400. You have JJ Redick if you think he's going to get some good run, and if you think that Zion is going to be limited again. You have $3,000 Michael Porter Jr., who should see pretty good run off the bench with no Barton and no Gary Harris. I think he looks tremendous as a value play. So those are some of the value plays that stick out to me. Right now I'm going with Jimmy Butler at 7,600. At power forward, Anthony Davis. Don't mind it. The Raptors, they're all healthy now. It's been a while. We've been targeting the Raptors a lot this year, and that was because you would have so many days where Gasol was out for weeks, and then like Van Fleet missed some time, and then you have Siakam missed some time, and now that they're all healthy, they have a bench with Ibaka. I don't know if he's going to start or come off the bench, but they have Anunoby. Everybody's healthy, so it's going to be interesting to see how the rotation plays out. We know Nick Nurse does like to run a tight rotation, but I don't know if I want to target like fully stack them against the Lakers defense. Some other guys that look good at power forward are definitely Jeremy Grant at $4,000. He should get a good run with the injuries on the team. But 3,000 for Michael Porter. He doesn't have to do much to make value. He should see good run off the bench, and he's not going to have to deal with some of the other high usage players on the team coming off the bench. And I think he could see a scenario where he gets you at least 25 minutes tonight. Especially if Murray's out, then you can really feel confident with Michael Porter's playing time. But either way, should still see good run with no Barton and no Gary Harris. At center, I like quite a bit of options. I am going to be a little cautious with Embiid, see how they treat him. The Sixers definitely need a win, but the Pacers are pretty depleted with injuries, especially if Oladipo's not able to go. The Sabonis is already out. This game could turn ugly pretty quick, and we know the Sixers will not really put Embiid out there in games that are kind of they're running away with. But Jokic looks amazing, 9,000. Gets a pretty big usage bump without Barton and without Gary Harris. Gonna shoot more, probably. Sometimes he doesn't shoot. Sometimes he has some of those games, but we know Jokic. You always get a triple double candidate. He's looked pretty good in these scrimmages, especially when they've been starting him with Bol and starting with that like 5 center lineup. Other guys that look good are Bam Adebayo, 8,100. He's gonna have to be out there to defend Jokic and Plumlee. Gobert, 7K. That's a pretty good price on him. I think Turner might be popular today. I don't know if I feel good about it. Against Embiid, he could get into foul trouble. Embiid's not one to really get blown up. But Turner, without Sabonis, definitely gets a bump. But I wish the matchup was easier. 6,200 if he's chalk, then I can gladly go somewhere else. Like I kind of like Steven Adams more at almost $1,000 cheaper. Facing off against Gobert, he's going to have to be out there. He's played pretty well against Gobert this year, averaging 31 fantasy points in the 2 games against the Jazz. So I kind of like Steven Adams a bit more. And I think that's kind of it at center. So we still have $7,000 left. And then I think at forward, I'll just go ahead and put in a guy like Kawhi Leonard. $2,000 cheaper than LeBron, $1,500 cheaper than Davis. The matchup is so much better, so I think I kind of prefer the Clippers studs to the Lakers studs today. And Kawhi just seems a little too cheap at $8,900. So these are the core 6 that I'm rolling with as of 7:36 a.m. on the East Coast. With that said, we'll touch on Fanduel now and see how their pricing is different. Alright, starting off at point guard on Fanduel, Ben Simmons, 8,000. That looks very nice compared to 86 on Draftkings. That should really have no problem paying that off. Then you have Kyle Lowry, 74. I think that looks decent. We'll see if Brogdon is able to go, and if Brogdon is in, Oladipo's out, then Brogdon looks good. If they're both in, you could play them, but I don't know if you want to get me. It's kind of lowers both of them if both of them are healthy, but with some of the other injuries to Sabonis, I think Brogdon can still pay off 6,500. But I like my Conley again, 5,700 on FanDuel. That looks good. And I don't know if I'll go super cheap. Like, Reggie Jackson might get some fewer minutes now that Beverly. They said he didn't go through shoot around, then he ended up playing. Didn't play a lot, but he was also in foul trouble. But Conley, I think, gives you some safety at the position with the price tag. If he just doesn't shoot 1 for 16 like he did the first meeting against the Thunder, I think he'll be okay. Jamal Murray is in, then I like him a lot at 6,700 too. Shooting guard, Jimmy Butler, 8,000 looks pretty nice. I like Butler, Paul George. Then I would go cheap for Donovan Mitchell, Van Fleet. And then for value, you have Josh Richardson and Jordan Clarkson. And that's pretty much it at the position. I find myself probably going with Jordan Clarkson again. I think he has a really good upside at that price point. Hopefully, he doesn't have a bad shooting game, because if he has a bad shooting day, you're basically screwed, because it's tough for him to get peripherals. If he's rolling, he gets the minutes, and he's gonna just run into some things like that. At small forward, this position is pretty loaded with LeBron, Kawhi, Siakam, Ingram, all at good price points. You have TJ Warren at 6,000. He's a guy that I think will benefit a lot with no Sabonis. And that's because he probably will shift down in position. You will see him probably play a lot more at the power forward, especially if they do start Jakar Sampson. Either one can play the 3 or the 4, but I would believe that Warren will have a much easier opportunity getting rebounds and getting peripherals, which has been a struggle for him because he's playing next to Turner and Sabonis, and both of those guys gobble up like 90% of the rebounds. Without Sabonis and a big Philly team, TJ Warren should play a lot, and I think at 6,000 he looks like a great value at small forward. At power forward, Davis is $10,000. I think he looked fine as a pay up. Nobody else to really pay up for besides Bam. I like Bam at 84, and I think if you have Royce O'Neal 4,900. She'll play 30 minutes again at least. You have Jeremy Grant at just 4,300, and you have Michael Porter at 37. I think either Porter or Jeremy Grant both look good. I'm leaning towards Jeremy Grant right now, although Porter could play him too if you want. I don't know. Both of them, I think, project pretty similarly. Grant might probably play more minutes. And then at center, I like Nikola Jokic, 9,000. Him and Embiid, same price point. Could go to Embiid if you want. But I like Jokic. I think he's a little bit safer in terms of minutes. And the matchup is not the easiest, but if he's missing some of his teammates or some of the other starters, he will get a nice usage bump, and I think he will capitalize on that. And then you have Rudy Gobert, 74. He's definitely in consideration. And then you could look at 6,000 for Steven Adams, but I feel good about these 5. It leaves you with 76.25 left. So that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. You can drop a like if you enjoyed. See if we can get 200 likes on the video. I might be back for baseball this afternoon. If not, I will post the pics on Twitter, or I'll be back on Monday. But hopefully, I'll be able to make a baseball video for this afternoon. But that is it. Thank you guys for watching and joining me, and good luck today.